You know, I think being alone gets a bad rep. Most people find it uncomfortable, undesirable. But when you really think about it, we spend most of our time alone. Which is why I think it's such a valuable skill to be able to be comfortable in this aloneness. Maybe even enjoy it. Let's start off this video by first saying that I think being alone is one of my greatest fears. Like, I distinctly remember how uncomfortable it makes me feel when I have to do things by myself, for myself. As an example, when I was younger, I would never go get a haircut by myself. I would never go shopping by myself. Like, whatever minor errands that needed to be done, I would get people to come along with me just because I could. And obviously, like, on some level, I would say it's great to do like an errand hang and just have a friend with you and spend your day. But it was almost like if there was nobody available, I wouldn't do it. And that was when I realized I had a problem. It started to dawn on me that I was probably not as independent as I thought I was. I think I made a decision then to just like, you know what? Let's just try and be the person we think we want to be. Thus began my slow development of the art of being alone. As I've grown older, I think I've become a lot more comfortable with my own company. Left to my own devices, by myself, I'm a lot more cool and chill about it. In fact, I pretty much enjoy being alone now, which is such a strange thing, because I think if you asked me this like 10, 15 years ago, I would have told you like, no man, why would you ever want to be alone? Like, I don't know where I heard it from, but I remember somebody saying that it's so important for you to be comfortable with yourself, because if you don't like yourself, how are you going to expect other people to be comfortable and want to be with you? And I was like, mind blown. Like, if I can't sit with myself by myself, I can't be that great for other people as well. For me, I think it started with just the idea that things are more convenient when I do things by myself. Start with the simple things like eating alone, or watching a movie by myself, shopping, getting those haircuts. Things that like you don't need other people to do if you want to do it. It's not like a team sport. Don't get me wrong, this isn't great development. This is like the basics of being alive. But it really did feel like I had to learn to overcome the discomfort. And eventually, after doing this for a while, I found that I enjoyed this state of aloneness. Not having anybody around me, not having to worry about anybody. It just felt really comfortable. But what I found really cool was when I was by myself and if I wasn't busy distracting myself with like TV or video games or like the internet, which I still do tremendously. When I allowed myself to sit with my thoughts and maybe reflect a little bit, I thought it was really cool how after a while you could kind of almost watch your thoughts as they happen from a third person almost, and then just go like, oh, I wonder why I thought that. I wonder why I think about that. And just being able to reflect on these things helped me maybe reconsider and think about how I was in the world and who I wanted to be. And if anything, that I think is the true benefit of learning to be alone. To be a little bit more aware of like the emotions and the ebbs and flows of the kind of like internal movements that you can only really hear when you are by yourself, listening to that internal voice, so to speak. And I find that when you hit a certain level of awareness with just how your mind goes and how you handle situations in your head or what your instincts are on an internal, in your head level, personally for me, I react to the world a little bit more consciously, a little bit more mindfully. It feels like I'm reacting less to the world in expected ways and more of me consciously choosing to behave in a certain way because I've already felt like, you know what, I want to be a little bit more like this. So when the next time a thing like that doesn't go my way happen, I want to handle it like this. And so when the opportunity comes, I've already had an idea that, you know what, I want to handle it this way, as opposed to just reacting as a result of not having thought about maybe what it is I want to be in the world. I hope that makes sense. I guess what I'm trying to say is being alone allows you to self-reflect. It allows you to think about who you want to be. And it allows you to almost visualize those situations in which you will put into practice how you want to be. Doesn't always work. You know, sometimes we still lose ourselves, but you're trying. Now, I don't want to say that this has made me a better person because that really does sound rather new agey and very personal development-y, which, while important, I kind of go like, that's not how I felt when I was doing it. I do think that it has helped me live a little bit more effectively or efficiently, to be a little in more of like the kind of like mental space that I would like to be in, where I'm maybe not as angry or reacting negatively because I'm actively choosing not to react negatively. And I find that being alone and doing things by myself has helped me develop these things a little bit more. But of course, we're not alone all the time. And sometimes life takes over. You got family, you get relationships, your time gets taken away, and you can't always develop or give yourself the space to be alone. And when you have kids, like my brother does, like he never gets any space by himself. I do think though, that the art then takes on another level where you find little pockets of time to give yourself the space to be by yourself. Like some people work out, take walks, some meditate. These are all small little pockets of alone time that allows you to kind of like do the work a little bit so you don't lose that aspect of self-reflection. It's almost like being in a relationship with yourself and keeping in touch. You're gonna put in a little bit of work. You could call, text sometimes, just like do a walk with yourself. You know, I think it's so important. I know like for myself, I'm lucky enough to not have any responsibilities or any obligations that require constant demands on my time. I can adjust accordingly, but there have been busy seasons where I've had to like eke out specific times to go like, you know what? I'm gonna take the next 20, 30 minutes to just take a walk. So I guess don't be afraid of being alone. It's extremely uncomfortable, but if you take small steps to being okay with it and developing ways to enjoy it, I think the benefits are undeniable. And then once you get to that point, you want to spend some time making sure that you always allow yourself little pockets of alone time to not lose touch. I just thought it was fun for me to like talk about it because if there's one thing that I feel like I've really learned over the years, it's being more comfortable in my own skin by myself. And it's not one of those things that you will see progress on a day-to-day basis. It's a very strange thing, but after some time, you're gonna look back and think about how far you've come. You surprise yourself. I know I definitely did. And at the very least, it's just fun to do things by yourself, to be comfortable with that.